There's Chris Jesus Ferguson, the 2000 World Series of Poker main event champion. I'm David Tuckman alongside poker phenom Robert Williamson III. Quite a lineup we have here, huh, Robert?
I'll tell you what, this is one time I'm glad I'm in the booth and not down there on the felt. What a tough lineup we've got.
There's Gus Hansen. Got off to a rough start in this $1 million cash game. This is season 4, by the way. Quickly lost $100,000.
22.
But he is now, Gus Hansen is now up 98,000.
Cool.
There's Tom Dwan. Doesn't need much of an excuse to mix it up. And he's going to raise it up with ace, deuce of clubs. Matusow going to call with the queen 10.
No surprises there yet. I know Tom Dwan's going to play a lot of hands, and people are going to try to take advantage of him playing so many hands. In position, I don't blame Mike.
King 6-9.
Wow, it's an interesting flop. How about a flopped flush for Tom Dwan?
Yeah, the nut flush.
And Mike Matusow, not normally the player to mix it up, but he's gonna float one here. He's gonna take one off. Like the play?
You know, I don't like it. I know what he's thinking. Why not reevaluate on the turn? Give him a call on his flop bet, float him.
Well, the 7 of hearts on the turn changes some things. Mike Matusow, well, it goes check, check. I was going to say the 7 on the turn. Matusow actually double gutted. He could have caught a jack or an 8 to make the straight. Obviously, we know he's drawing dead.
Yeah, well, on top of that, he did make a pair on the river here, so he might be in payoff mode. He might feel like he has to pay this off now.
Well, pot 14,200, and it's a small, tiny bet there, 2,800.
Yeah, he's going to get paid off. You know, once he's decided to float this, now he made the hand he was drawing at. I mean, you know, besides a straight.
You're probably the best. I win it.
Huh?
I win.
I mean, it's a ridiculously tiny bet there.
I couldn't turn my cards over.
From Tom Dwan. And he says, I won, and yeah, I've only got the nuts.
Queen high flush. You didn't want to go broke this time, Mikey, for the queen high flush?
Does that mean you flopped your pair?
Means you got the absolute maximum you were ever gonna get.
No way. I don't think that's what it means.
No, I had.
You were never getting more than the 2,800 you bet on the river.
No, I had him pegged there. If you bet like 3,100 on the river, he's out.
Andrew Feldman opening under the gun.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
He represented England as a teenager playing badminton. Bet you didn't know that.
I actually didn't. I played a lot of cards with Andrew Feldman, but I didn't know that. Thanks for that little information on him.
If he challenges you to a badminton match,
I'll know to run. I'll know to run.
Well, we're going to see this 3 ways. And here's the flop. 8, deuce, deuce. 8. Well, Andrew came in with the worst of it. He's flopped the best of it, though.
Check.
He's got 8s up.
We put the 7 deuce in.
Yeah, I don't think he can let any free cards come off here. I think we're going to see a definite bet, 4,500 or so.
Bet 4,200.
Well, 4,200. You're going to have to work on that.
I tell you.
Tom Dwan with a whole bunch of nothing. But that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see at least one air call here, and we did.
Yeah, and he's going to float one off and see what happens. A lot of scary cards for Andrew Feldman.
Plus, he has overcards. I mean, he does have legitimate overcards.
Well, he didn't hit his overcard, but the King of Hearts has to scare Feldman. I mean, that could be a card that maybe Dwan can use. Pot is now $15,400. And Andrew Feldman trying to figure out what to do.
I think the reason why Tom Dwan
checks.
Whoa.
Well, this is really interesting now. Andrew Feldman with a full house. But Tom Dwan, he's got 8s and deuces with the ace kicker.
Maybe
does he think maybe?
Board.
Yeah, I was just saying. Does he think maybe that his ace is good?
Yeah, or maybe it's at a tie.
Bet 5,000.
Oh, nice little bet. Wow. An insta fold by Tom Dwan. Kind of surprised about an insta fold that spot.
Yeah, I think Tom Dwan just has a read on Andrew Feldman. Andrew Feldman, by the way, down about $35,000.
Which, considering the size of this game, is easily overcome. You know, 35,000. That's a normal swing for this big of a game.
He originally bought in for 100,000, lost that. Bought in for another 100,000. Tom Dwan is in this game for $500,000. He's been down over 350,000. Now he's only down 84,000.
When you say only, it just seems like he's it's not such a number, but after being down that much, I agree.
3.
Great recovery by
Pass.
Tom Dwan.
Phil Ivey's going to raise this up. Actually, I believe that's a straddle.
Pass. Call. Call.
No, it actually was a raise from Phil Ivey. He made it 3,000, got called in 2 spots.
The same 3 players to the flop.
2, 2, 4.
Uh-oh.
Wow, look at that. Phil Ivey has flopped trip deuces.
Check.
Tom Dwan with the overpair.
Yeah, this could be trouble for the young phenom,
6.
Tom Dwan.
Pass.
Oh, Mooley going to get out of the way. Let's see how Dwan plays this. It's a $6,000 bet over to him. Pot is 14,000.
It actually might be good if he does raise
Call.
right here.
And he's just
Might
going to
be-
call.
He could have got away from it maybe if Phil raises.
King.
Well, king of clubs. Well, it's an overcard to
Check.
Dwan's pair of 7s.
22,000 in this pot so far.
15.
15.
And Phil Ivey bets 15,000.
15. 15.
Pot is now $37,000. 15,000 to call for Tom Dwan.
I love the size of that bet because it gives a flush draw a bad price, gives a straight draw a bad price, and he can still get paid off by a hand like the one that Tom Dwan has, 2 7s. Nice bet sizing by Phil Ivey. And a well-disguised hand as well. Since he open raised this, it's hard to put him on a deuce out there.
And look at this poker table. Tom Dwan, Phil Ivey, Patrick Antonius. 3 of the great poker minds all at the same table. Andrew Feldman watching on. Cyril Mooley also watching on. Oh, he's reaching for his chips. And he is going to call this
Call.
bet. Pot now $52,000.
Dwan needs a 7 here to capture the best hand.
3.
Oh, it's not a 7, it's a 3 of clubs.
But that's
Check.
a card that might get Phil Ivey paid off. A 3 looks pretty innocent right there. I'm going to see about half the pot bet, 20 to 30,000, somewhere in that range. 25, 30,000, something like that.
$40.
It's a $40,000 bet from Phil Ivey.
A lot bigger bet than I was expecting.
This is the 4th season we've been watching Phil Ivey in this $1 million cash game. And one thing about Phil Ivey, he has an uncanny knack of getting paid off when he hits his hands. Tom Dwan, it's an awfully tough laydown. Can he make it? Pot is $92,000. 40,000 over to Dwan.
And this is an extremely tough laydown. I don't think he's going to lay this down. I just got a gut feeling if Ivey has a deuce or a king, he's going to pay him off. Wow! I think that's actually a pretty strong laydown right there.
Oh, it's more than just a strong laydown. It's amazing laydown. Great instincts by Tom Dwan.
Well, the third barrel, sometimes when a man like Phil Ivey fires that third barrel, generally speaking, he has it.
Well, Phil Ivey's still down $35,000, but he's clawing his way back.
You're welcome, Nick.
2,000 to play if you want to see the flop.
Action on Andrew Feldman with the snowman, 2 8s in his hand.
Hey, he's got the snowman.
He'll probably make it 6,000 or 7,000 to play. I would
Also in
say.
position.
7. Pass.
He makes it 7,000 to go.
Pretty standard.
No, I don't think Dwan's going to fold this one. Kind of hand exact kind of hand he wants to play.
10 jack suited plays well in a multi-way pot, so he definitely doesn't mind more callers the better.
Now, the one thing, Andrew Feldman, as tight as he's playing, when he raises in this spot, it is holding somewhat polarized.
23.6 total.
Actually,
Pass.
I agree with what you're saying 100%. think it narrows the range of hands that Andrew Feldman could have here.
I mean, you figure he's got a pair. I mean, a medium or a big size pocket pair, or ace king, ace queen. I mean,
Well, you'll definitely be able to define the hand by Miss Re-raise right here pre-flop. I'd be surprised if we see a call by Feldman. Tom Dwan really hasn't played back at Feldman much in the last few hours.
Feldman's pretty deep though. Feldman started this pot with $350,000. Dwan with $375,000.
I think that was part of why Tom Dwan made this re-raise.
Well, that's the problem also. If Feldman were to call with the eights, you just don't know where Dwan's at. Dwan can do this with 4-5 suited. He can do it with Jack-10 suited. He can do it with pocket aces.
That's right. I think you're 100% correct. And that's why I think Feldman's probably going to lay this down. I'd be surprised if he calls.
I mean, I'm not sure if Andrew Feldman is comfortable playing a very, very big pot against Tom Dwan.
Once again, I agree with you.
Action on Feldman.
He could be deciding whether it's worth trying to flop a set right now.
23-6.
And it's $23,600 to Feldman.
It's a big re-raise.
Yeah. It's an additional $16,600. Well, if you knew Tom Dwan had aces or kings, let's say this is Chris Ferguson, and you knew Tom Dwan had aces or kings, you could call for set value. The problem is Tom Dwan doesn't necessarily need a hand like that to make this move.
That's the problem. If he was playing against a predictable player, I agree with you.
I mean, even if you hit your set, you might not get paid.
On top of that, you could be against a higher set. It's
Well-
hard to know where you're at in this hand.
Well, if you flop a set, you flop a set. I'm not.
Well, when you got 350,000 in front of you, though, that kind of changes things a bit. Stacks are pretty deep. I'd be real surprised if Feldman calls here.
I mean, he's in position with pocket eights. I mean, it's a perfect spot.
Well, he's almost assured to get a bet into him if the flop comes anything dangerous or anything innocent.
Yeah, Feldman's just not going to get involved.
I don't blame him. Tom Dwan just too tricky of a player. I think I would have took 2 queens. Queens are higher for Feldman to get involved in that pot.
I got to tell you, I mean, I think Andrew Feldman has, like I said it before, I think Andrew Feldman has a really great poker future in front of him.